Grab your cocktail and get ready for this episode of the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast. Welcome to the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Freemasons while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian, and who you have on the screen, this is our second non-Mason ever on the podcast. If you remember who our first one was, if you look up at the top of the screen, it was the priest, the Catholic priest that came in, where Russ and I, we were able to sit down and talk about the differences between Catholicism and Freemasonry and why Catholics believe that Freemasonry is not compatible. But push all that dark stuff to the side. We're past it. So, Sean, welcome to the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast.
Hey, thanks, Brian.
So, have you ever seen an episode?
No, I have not.
Oh man, that is good. You're in trouble. I mean, in for a treat. It's going to be something like you've never done before, I can assure you. And I don't know that that's always positive. So, Sean, I want to let the listeners know you are petitioning to become a Mason, right?
Yeah.
So before we start talking about that process, like we do on all the episodes, we like to know as much about the man. So, Sean, give us the rundown, my friend.
All right. My name's Sean Riley. I'm originally from Michigan. Joined the Navy out of high school. Was stationed out in Hawaii for 3 years. Then I went on the Mercy, the hospital ship. Went around to Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, Cambodia on a humanitarian mission.
So back up. So that means you were a corpsman.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. That's the transition over. Okay. So you're a corpsman in the Navy, got out, then you went on the Mercy ships. Are these the ones we see the commercials about?
Yeah. The big white ships with the red crosses on them. And then I went to Camp Pendleton with the Marines.
Okay. Oh, you lost a bet and went with the Marines. Okay. Yeah. Did you have to pick crayons out of their teeth much?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, okay.
They're the best.
We won't have you throw any more shade on those guys.
I had to eat some too.
Oh, you did? Well, there you go. So you went Navy, then onto the Mercy ship, and then pick up from there.
Then I got stationed out in Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
I was with the Marines out there, and then went into the reserves and went back to Michigan to go to school at Michigan State.
Okay.
So while I was there, I stayed in the reserves. And after I graduated from Michigan State, was in a fraternity there.
Okay.
And then after I graduated, moved back to Hawaii. And then was working out there in the reserves as well.
Okay.
And then I got an opportunity to come back active duty in the Navy. So did that.
To where?
To Kansas.
To Kansas. So for those that don't understand, the Navy in Kansas, it is a thing. A past master from our lodge, Kevin Kahn, he was formerly in the Army, and then he joined the Navy, and he ended up being stationed in Wichita, which is still as fascinating to me, the amount of Navy personnel. How many Navy personnel do you think active duty are stationed in Wichita area?
Active duty, I'd probably say about 25.
So a very low number, right? So yeah, you're definitely out. And do you do stuff at McConnell at the air base? Is that where you kind of do your work?
Yeah, just outside McConnell, there's a Navy Reserve Center and a Marine Corps Reserve Center, just down the road from the Army Reserve Center.
Okay. So once you left active duty, went to the reserves, went to school, came back in active, did anything change? Did your credits apply? Did that just help you promote? Did you come back in differently? Walk me through that.
Yeah, I got to keep my rank, and the only downside is that the time in the reserves, I did almost 10 years in the reserves, so only 3 of those years count towards retirement.
That sucks.
But it's okay, yeah. So I got a total of like 8 active years right now.
Okay. So is your goal as of now to run to 20?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, you might as well build up that retirement and on to the next thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know a little bit about nobody special in your life. I heard a little kitty cat purring earlier, so
Yeah. Yeah, I got a cat.
all
Yeah, I
right.
just moved here in May. Yeah, I got a cat, bought a house in Wichita here.
Okay.
So
All right. All right. So let's talk about masonry. So a lot of men that were in the military, they have that fraternal bond that outsiders can't explain. You also joined a frat in college.
yeah,
So so
Sigma Chi. There's a lot of members from Sigma Chi that become Masons. So
okay, okay. So I got, do you have any family members that were Masons?
I don't know. My first experience with Masonry was in the Navy when I was active duty.
Okay,
And
walk me through
then,
that.
yeah, I met a chief warrant officer that was a Mason in the Navy, and I was getting ready to transition PCS to my next place, but he was a really interesting guy, and was you could just tell, he was a good person.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
So
So did he talk to you about it, or was that kind of your first experience knowing he was a Mason?
No, he actually had a ring, and I'd always been kind of curious about it, but I didn't know anybody growing up that was.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny. I grew up Lutheran um, in Michigan, and I'm still Lutheran today, but I actually go to church here in Wichita, Reformation Lutheran Church.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
So that's interesting. There's a sect and a shoot, the Missouri Synod Lutheran. They are absolutely, well, they hate everybody. But especially Masons, and we know that because we have several Masons in our lodge that grew up Missouri Synod. So it's,
see, yeah, they're pretty strict. I'm
yeah.
ELCA.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So you got your first kind of taste of knowing somebody who was a Mason. You joined the fraternity. So why now? Why are you looking to join the fraternity?
Well, I just want to get plugged into the community, that camaraderie that I had in the military when I was active duty,
Yeah.
and then joining a fraternity. It's a little bit different too. It wasn't the same as active duty military, but
Yeah.
still that brotherhood and doing things for the community.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of members join for the sense of community, and that's very important. And the lodge that you're petitioning, Albert Pike, they do a good job. We could always do more, right? So I think a lot of folks from your generation being part of something bigger than themselves is a huge reason for joining. Was that a factor for you?
Oh, definitely, yeah. So I figured out that the Shriners are actually a part of Masonry.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
really like their message and what they do for kids. And um, I'm in medical, so it fits right in with.
Well, especially with the mercy ships, all of that. Yeah, that's your sense of service and community is exactly uh what we want for for our members, and we we think that you would definitely add value just from that's already ingrained. It's ingrained in you, right? So
Yeah.
um so how did you reach out? So you knew you wanted to be a Mason. How did you find Pike? Tell me about that part of how you got hooked up initially to start the joining process.
Yeah, so I did some research about the Mason lodges in the area, and
Okay.
then shot an email. And then a couple weeks later, I got a message back from one of the brothers in the lodge, and they were holding an event at the Shriners
Like a
lodge.
membership event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where I received a petition. They gave me the story about the Shriners and
Yep.
what they do, and it was just like an introduction a little bit to
So
that.
who put that presentation on? Was it Bob or Lynn or Bart or Jeff? Maybe all of the above?
And it was Jeff and Jeff Sauter
Yeah.
and Bob was there.
Bob
Yeah,
Talbot. So those who don't know, look up at the top. We've interviewed both of those. I'd be shocked if anybody in the damn world doesn't know who Jeff Souter is. We call him Mr. Mason around here. You know, Master Mason, Scottish Rite, Shrine, past master, past potentate, past Grand Master of Kansas, past Imperial Potentate of the world. I mean, short of landing on the moon, this guy has damn done it all. And then you have Bob Talbot. This guy came in and blazed the trail. Two different, really different personalities. You know when Jeff is in the state. He is a booming personality. Bob's a little more subdued, but don't sleep on that dude. He's an accomplished soul himself. He's everything on the Masonic side. Check, 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 check. Absolutely smoked it. And just both unbelievable humans. So they are two great people to have introduced you to Masonry. I don't think that any two people combined could have given a better message. So shout out to those two for closing the deal.
Oh yeah, yeah, it definitely got me motivated and definitely reassured me like this is something I want to be a part of. So
okay, all right. So you get your petition, and did you sign a petition that night, or did you just get paperwork?
I just got paperwork and had to, submit a background check. But the next day they were actually having a Blue Lodge meetup at the zoo. So they're like
at Tanganyika, out at Tanganyika.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a Pike event that they do every year. So for those outside of Wichita, one of the great things that Masons do, but especially at Albert Pike, they do a lot of different annual events. So especially in the summertime, it's too hot to sit in lodge. So they do the family event. And so you got to go out to Tanganyika, and then you get to meet everyone kind of just in their regular street clothes, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
With their families.
Yeah.
So obviously that was positive.
Oh, definitely.
Did you feel like you're at home?
Yeah. They actually had me do pull the number out for the raffle because I'm non-biased, because I wasn't.
No, they wanted to blame you. I see.
Yeah.
They did you dirty.
And then they also, so that was a great event, and I got to meet a lot of brothers there, and they helped me with the petition. So after talking with them and checking out all the animals in the zoo and stuff, well,
that's a requirement, of course. Find out what your favorite animal is. Of course, every lodge knows this. Oh, nice. So that's good. So you had a couple of events. You got to meet the best two people to introduce you, and then you got to meet so you got to see a makeup of everybody there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so looking around, we're like, okay. So let's talk the negative side of it. Is there anything so far in the experience that you're like, I didn't see this and I thought that I might, or I wish they would have talked about this, but they haven't yet? Anything?
Yeah. So at first, Chris was telling me,
Chris Collins, past master. Okay.
He's like, the average age of Masons is like 60. Are you sure you want to, be around a bunch of older guys? I was like, oh yeah, no problem with that. But they just come with so much experience and life experience they can share with you, and hopefully we can get some more people involved. I know that Pike has, I guess, been growing quite a bit. They have a new lodge now.
Yeah. The new Pike moved into a new building with new lodge room and all that. So I'm excited for you to see that when you get to go through the process.
Yeah.
So
that's also many of them are Shriners as well.
Yeah.
So they told me about this gun raffle that was going on, and that's a big revenue maker for raising money for the kids and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I went out to that. That was like I think the next weekend. So I got to meet, so many people.
Then you got a whole next set of level of Masons in there. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That was great. I mean, they had all kinds of raffles going on.
Oh, yeah. Anything to get that dollar out of your pocket. I get it. So
yeah, definitely drank my money's worth though at that event. Buy a beer cup for like $10 and it's
Bottomless.
unlimited.
Yeah. Oh, well, good. So
So,
you got a really large snapshot of the makeup of the Masons, right? So, and as you know, to be a Shrine, you have to be a Mason first, and to be a Scottish Rite, it's really the core. So, all right. Um, so you filled out your petition. Now, here's what they do with your petition. They bring your petition into lodge, and then they'll assign it to an investigative committee. Have you had your investigation?
yeah, I have.
All right. So where did they meet you at to do your
Um,
investigation?
they came to my house.
How
Yeah.
many people came to your house?
Yeah. Two people came.
Okay. So
Um,
walk me through that. So they come, they schedule it, they knock on the door, you let them in. I'm assuming you didn't do it on the porch.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They came in and we chatted for a little bit, and they told me, this is an investigation, and anything we find here, we cannot discuss. We can either say yes or no
Right.
to the committee.
Yep.
So,
Okay. So what was the vibe? Were they trying to put the bright light on you and interrogate you, or what was the vibe? Was it just a chill
um,
conversation?
it was, they were trying to figure out who I am and what I'm about, and ask me some questions like, why do I want to be involved, and you know
All right. Is there
it
anything that
was
they didn't
pretty
ask that you
relaxed.
expected them to ask?
uh I can't think of anything um out of the ordinary, but they did share with me, like, if I did have a spouse, that they would talk with them as well,
Sure.
and let them know, what I'm going to get into a little
Sure.
bit.
Yeah, that's a very important part of the process to us, because when you have a significant other, we're taking a little bit of your time together and making it our time, and it's nice to let them know through the process. So when I went through the investigation, when they came to the house, they really focused on speaking with my daughters and wife, probably more than me. Which is great, because the buy-in's important, because you don't want that to create some sort of oh, now you're going there, you're leaving me for Masonry, and so good that they brought that up. I think that's important. I think it's
Yeah,
important.
I mean, I kind of got to see from the other side of that, that they did have, their families at these events, at both the Tanganyika event and
Yeah,
also at the Shriner event.
yeah,
And everyone was involved and having a good time. So hopefully, I can find a wife and be involved like that as well.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
cool.
That's so. Yeah, no, that'd be great as long as you don't find a wife that's already a wife. I mean, we're all going to be good on our sides.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're going to find out later that'd be kind of a problem.
I,
So
I bet.
for lots of reasons, right? So okay, so you've been investigated, so you're awaiting your first degree, and so what do you think's going to happen? What are you anticipating? Did they tell you what to wear when you show up, or walk me through that process? What do you think? What do you think you're walking into?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm
Okay.
going to be walking into.
Okay.
I imagine I have to be presented in front of the brothers at the
Sure.
lodge, and
Yep. All sorts of
um,
things that could happen, right? Yeah. Well,
I'm,
what's that?
I was told to, like, dress, formally for the occasion.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
I think that's one of the things, and I'm glad that they did that, because a lot of the times when I would bring somebody through, or they'd ask me, what should I wear? The days of saying, well, wear what you'd wear to church, the stuff I see in church is alarming to me anymore. So my response is, wear what you would wear if you want to make the best possible first impression on somebody you've never met before. That's kind of the vibe and whatever is within your means, that doesn't mean go out and do this and buy that, but so that's good. So my advice is, when you show up for your first degree, give yourself the chance to make the absolute best impression. It's an enlightening process. It's a journey that I hope as after you get your first degree and we have the conversation, and your second degree and we have the conversation, and finally when you become a master mason, it's going to be interesting for us to go back and reflect on what you thought is going to happen and what really happened without telling everybody what really happened, right? So, would be as cryptic as possible. But um what is there what's any anxiety, any fear, that what's the biggest fear of the unknown that you're thinking, oh my gosh, could this happen?
Oh, yeah, I think I've been trained out of the fear of the unknown. I've
Good
been,
man. Yeah.
you know, schooled up on that. Like there's no point in worrying about something that you can't control. And
Yeah.
I know that it's got to be an important piece that, everyone has gone through.
Right.
So I'm excited for that and really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I think that the only bit of advice I'm going to give you as you go to take your first degree without spoiling it is this: trust the men that are around you. They are not there to screw with you. They are there to help start you through a journey. That that I'm not sure what goes on in frats and any of that, but we want to make sure. And the lodge that you're going to be raised at is the same lodge I was raised at. I know how these guys do work. It's great, and they will treat it with the respect that it deserves. So very excited to have you go through, and I hope it's everything and more than you hope that it is. So, but so for the rest of the listeners, the plan is, as Sean goes through and after he gets his first degree, we're going to bring him back on. He's not in the studio. We don't allow some non-Mason in our studio, but we're going to bring him in, and we want to have him talk about what he went through in the first degree. And what he's going to be able to say and not say because we've been through it. So, Sean, thanks for coming on the Old Fashioned Masonic podcast, my friend. I look forward to following you through your journey. Cheers.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me.